Hello, everyone. It's your big brother Ben again. I wanted to talk about something that was brought to my attention by Moist Critical, Penguin Z0. If I'm your big brother, he's definitely the father of our dysfunctional family. Yesterday, he brought up, and the night before, he brought up the lawsuit that has to do with Bungie. If you're not aware of the situation, I first off suggest you go and watch his video on it. He does a really good job explaining what's going on. But just to recap, Bungie's being sued by a writer that is claiming that they have allegedly stolen his stories from his WordPress back in like 2013, 2014. Now, Charlie does a really good job at explaining everything and pointing out some of the absurdities that have been brought up. Furthermore, Bungie is having a hard time providing any evidence to the contrary, since the story in question, Red Legion and Wrath of Osiris, have been, as Bungie says, been vaulted. Now, it seems like Charlie's main point is like you wouldn't be in this situation if you didn't, vault that content in the first place, seeing as how, players paid for that. Red Legion was one of the original stories. Wrath of Osiris was also one of the original campaigns. Bungie is alleging that they have no way of obtaining a game that is in the state where it still had the Red Legion and Wrath of Osiris in it, in a playable state. Now, I am a computer scientist. I actually have a master's degree in computer science. I minored in mathematics. I actually teach software development at a local community college. So, something that Charlie, I don't think, noticed, because it's kind of a nuanced situation when it comes to any kind of software development, including game development, is that there's a certain thing that we like to call a version control system, or a VCS. For anybody who doesn't know, a VCS, or version control system, such as Git or Bitbucket, they're used to maintain a history of the code, or the code base, I should say. And if you're not aware, I don't know how you wouldn't be aware, but if you're not aware, game development, it's mainly just code and art files. If you are telling me that Bungie is not employing any kind of version control system whatsoever, and they cannot just do a single line of code in the VCS to roll back, that is just that blows my mind. If they are a multi-million-dollar company and you're telling me that they're not using a version control system whatsoever, they're trying to allege in court that they have no way to get the game back to the state where it had that story in it. If you're a game developer or a software developer in general, and you're working at a multi-million-dollar company, and you go to your boss and you say, "Hey, boss, we're not gonna employ a version control system whatsoever," you'll get fired on the spot. You would get fired immediately, because it is asinine not to have a version control system. Not only would it help you in this specific situation, but the entire point of a version control system is so that if you ever employ something in the game, in the history of the code, that is breaking for the program, that breaks the program, it is so incredibly easy to roll it back to the previous commit. On top of that, because I can already see if someone sees this and knows the version control systems, they might say, "Oh, well, they don't want to have to roll back the entirety of the game." I totally get that. You know what else a version control system does for you? You can fork the project. Now, a fork in a version control project in a repository is literally cloning the project. You can make a clone of the project, then take that one and roll it back to give it to the court. That would take someone less than a day's worth of work. Honestly, if it is someone who is knowledgeable about the code base and the repository, it would probably take them an hour or 2 hours to do that, depending on how large the files are. Like, it is baffling to me that they are telling the courts that they have no way, no possible conceivable way to get the game back in that state, to show the story. It's if you're a fan of Broad City, it reminds me of that scene where they go into that weird dude's house, they clean it up, and at the end he's just sitting there like, "Oh, I can't pay you. I'm just a little baby."
I don't have any.
Are you joking right now?
I'm a little baby.
It's literally that, but with version control. Oh, we can't roll it back. We there's no way. We've updated the game so much. There's no way we could roll it back. It's literally that. It's asinine. It blows my mind. Even if let's just say that Bungie is ran by the most incompetent software developers ever to exist. Let's just say that that's the case, and they're not using a version control system. They're not able to fork the project. They're not able to roll it back to a different commit. The main allegation here is that the scenarios that were written plagiarized the guy's WordPress blog posts. So, if you're familiar with game development, we have this position that's called a scenario writer. My question is, does Bungie have scenario writers? And the answer is yes. Destiny has two main writers that they credit for Destiny 2. So Bungie has two main writers that they quote Destiny 2. It is Jason Harris and Christine Thompson. Those are the two writers that are credited on Destiny 2. My question is, what did they write on? You're telling me that they didn't save their writings anywhere when they wrote the story for Destiny 2? Did they write it on paper and then wipe their asses with it? Did they save it on a computer and then burn the hard drive afterwards? You have writers. They wrote something, right? Because you have a story. You had multiple side stories, multiple sub-stories, multiple campaigns. So they must have written something. How come you can't provide that to the court? Like, instead, what Bungie is doing is, oh, we don't have anything we could give you guys. What about this 10-hour video made from a fan of Destiny 2 on his YouTube channel? Like, what do you mean you don't have anything? What? I'm losing my mind in this scenario. It is just either Bungie is ran by the most incompetent people ever, or they're blatantly lying to the court because either it's going to be too much work to roll it back, which, again, anybody who has knowledge of the repository would be able to do it in a day's time to just fork the project and roll it back. Or, God forbid, they produce the actual original writings that these writers that they credit for Destiny 2 wrote, supposedly, allegedly, right? You can't provide any of that. All you have to go off of is a fan-made YouTube video? I'm losing my mind over this. Like, again, you can see my background. I teach software development. Rule number 1 is to set up your project to use a version control system. That's rule number 1 for any kind of software development. Again, they must have the most incompetent people ever. So that's the two sides to this. Is either they're incompetent, which, okay, you guys have shown your hand already that you don't know what you're doing when it comes to running a game company. A huge fall from grace from the Halo trilogy, the original Halo trilogy. Or they're doing this on purpose and just pretending to not know. Oh no, we're just a little old company. We can't expect us to be able to keep track of things. Which just makes them look more guilty. Because you're obviously, if that's the case, and you can do something, and it would just either be too much work, or that you're guilty of this, then you're doing the thing that would just show your guilt the most. Like, it's asinine. It is absolutely asinine. Anywho, what do you think about the Bungie lawsuit? Let me know down in the comments. I'd be ecstatic to hear what you have to say. Feel free to like and subscribe if you want. If you don't, no worries. There are more sketches to come. I'm writing more sketches, so feel free to watch the previous sketches and whatnot if you want. If you don't, oh well. Anyways, thanks for listening to me ramble about something that has just been boggling my mind. And I'll see you in the next one. All right. Thanks so much. Bye. Bye-bye. Okay, Mom says you have to leave, all right? Don't make me get Dad. I will get Dad. Don't make me. Don't make me.